All right, thank you guys. We improved to 2-0 yesterday in our last two Underdog tier membership package plays on patreon.com/BrockPage. And that's a website that I operate that gives you daily premium sports picks beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. Now we'll go ahead and talk about that in just a little bit, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at some international Setka Cup table tennis action. All lines and odds taken from the Fox Bet Sportsbook. We're going to go ahead and start with Timur Vodakov taking on Denis Matveev, and that's going to be a 12:35 p.m. Eastern start time. Matveev has lost 5 out of his last 7, with embarrassing defeats coming at the hands of Popov, Trofimov, and Ratushniak during that stretch. Then he has also lost 3-1 in his last head-to-head meeting with Vodakov. And speaking of Timur, he's actually on fire right now, winning his last 5 straight matches. He's plowed through the likes of Konunikov, Popov, and Yolkin during that stretch. Got to give the clear advantage to Vodakov in this spot here. Give me Timur Vodakov winning this one outright in convincing fashion. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Thursday's International Setka Cup table tennis action. Happy Thursday to you. Hopefully you're having a good week. And guess what? The weekend is right around the corner. It's almost here. Now, before we go ahead and move on with the program, I just want to quickly remind you, once again, to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where we once again improved to 2-0 in our last 2 Underdog tier membership plays on that website yesterday. We're also 19-10 in our last 29 crowd pleaser teasers as well. That's a very good package for us right now. We do daily premium sports picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. We also have a bunch of different memberships, tiers, and packages that you can subscribe to. Currently, we have well over 650 members signed up and active on that page. Now, you might be wondering, why would all those folks sign up to receive Patreon picks where they can get them here for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great thought, a great point, a great concern. But there is a big problem with me handicapping every single game that's on the board side and total. And the problem is this: if you were to bet every single game that's on the slate that I put out here on YouTube, side and total, you're almost guaranteeing yourself failure. And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. If you're going to bet every single game that's on the slate with your hard-earned money, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. And here's why. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. They certainly have a lot more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that kind of action. And most important, the math becomes aggressively against you the more and more games you play like that. So what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you. I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage picks, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current Patreon record is a whole lot better than it is here on YouTube, handicapping every single game that is on the board available side and total. And if you want to check out my current record, you can do that for free right now. That record is located right on the homepage. And once again, link for that site is in the description section below. I'll also include a link for that site in the comments section below as well. And once again, that is patreon.com/BrockPage. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive back into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Andrei Kurtenko squaring off against Max Merck, and that's going to be a 12:40 p.m. start time. Merck is also red hot right now, winning 6 out of his last 7 matches, where he garnered himself 2 dominating shutout victories during that stretch. He's mowed through the likes of Kondratenko, Kutchenko, and Zaporoshits. Hell of a name, right? Zaporoshits. During that span of victories. Meanwhile, Kutchenko on the other side has dropped 3 out of his last 4 with humiliating shutout losses and 2 out of his last 4 defeats. Andre was also decimated by Max in their last head-to-head matchup, 3-0. Looks like a pretty good spot for Max backers. I mean, Max Merck winning that one straight up for some money line cash. And with that, I'm going to slide my next matchup for the show. It is going to be Michael Teteruk taking on Alexei Nataporosky, 1 o'clock Eastern start time. Alexei, that's a good name, right? Alexei's dropped 2 out of his last 4 with tough losses coming at the hands of Yevgeny and Viktor Ivanoff. He's also lost 4 out of his last 8 matches as well. Tedoruk on the other side really starting to heat up as of late during his current 4-match win streak. Tedoruk also went 5-1 straight up in his last 6, with marquee wins over Yevgeny, Ivanoff, and Kapanis during that span. I like Tedoruk in a close competitive matchup here. Give me Mike Tedoruk winning that one outright in a close one. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Nikita Trofimov facing off against Vlad Ratushniak, 1:05 p.m. start time. Nikita's won 4 out of his last 5 matches, including dominating shutout finishes in 3 out of those 4 victories. He shut out the likes of Yolkin and Popov twice during that stretch. I think this is a pretty good spot for Trofimov backers. Probably should be another competitive matchup here on today's slate. Give me Nikita Trofimov getting the job done in a tough battle. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be Bogdan Guzak taking on Vas Kondratenko, 1:10 Eastern start. Vas has significantly struggled recently, losing his last 2 straight and dropping 5 out of his last 7. He's suffered tough losses to the likes of Max Merck, Demchuk, and Bogdan Guzak during that stretch. And speaking of Guzak, he's won 4 out of his last 7 himself, with shutout victories over Demchuk and Merck during that stretch. Looks like a pretty good spot for Bogdan backers in this spot here. Give me Bogdan Guzak winning that one outright for some money line cash. All right, next matchup that I have for you, it is going to be Viktor Ivanoff taking on Rod Kapanis, 1:30 p.m. start time. Kapanis is really playing some bad table tennis right now, losing 5 out of his last 6 matches. He was defeated convincingly by the likes of Tedoruk, Yevgeny, and Ivanoff during that span. And speaking of Ivanoff, he's won his last 2 head-to-head meetings with Kapanis, 3-1. Viktor's also on a really nice tear right now, winning 7 out of his last 8, with 2 shutout victories during that stretch. Looks like a very nice spot for Ivanoff backers. Give me Viktor Ivanoff winning this one straight up in a dominant effort. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Alexei Nataporosky squaring off against Kopat Yevgeny, 2 p.m. start time. Kopat's lost his last 4 straight matches, while also going just 1-5 straight up in his last 6. Kopat was also shut out in 2 out of those 5 defeats. Alexei, on the other side, has won 2 out of his last 3 himself, while also posting a record of 4-2 straight up in his last 6. Nataporosky's beaten the likes of Mike Tedoruk, Viktor Ivanoff, and Kopat Yevgeny during those victories. Looks like a pretty nice spot for those backing Alexei here. Give me Alexei Nataporosky winning this one outright in a close one. And with that, I'm going to slide to my next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Viktor Ivanoff taking on Michael Tedoruk, 2:30 p.m. start time. And this will quite possibly be the best matchup on the card. It's certainly the best matchup on paper. Both gentlemen playing at an extremely high level right now. Tedoruk's won 4 out of his last 5. Ivanoff, same thing. Ivanov did win 2 out of his last 3 head-to-head matchups with Tedoruk, however, with one of those victories coming in convincing fashion, 3-1. Tedoruk's most recent pair of losses on the other side both came at the hands of Viktor Ivanoff. Once again, should be a great matchup. I got to give the slight edge to Ivanoff in this spot here. Give me Viktor Ivanoff winning that one straight up in a nail-biter. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BragPage. Got to give a shout-out to Shamal Days, Stephen Lewis, Bobby Schroeder, JDog3217. Shout-out to Going Crazy, Zymar Tracks, Andy Raphael. I also got to take some time and give a well-deserved shout-out to my good friend William Peterson, Brandon Saunders, Barton Wood. I also want to take this time and give a shout out to a couple more guys here. Got to show some love to my man James Hammond, Mr. B. Shout out to John Klotz. Thank you, John, for watching each and every day. Got to give a shout out to Mark Baldwin. Great commenter in the comments section. Got to show some love for Mark. Mark, you're a great guy, and I appreciate you having you on Patreon. Also got to give a shout out to Pittsburgh Gentleman PA, James S., Yara Shakrishna, and last but certainly not least, this guy's been with me for a long time. Got to give a shout out to my good friend DeMarcus Gill. Good to see you, DeMarcus. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.